Play right.
Play. Cool. Hi. So I hope by the end of my speech today, my classmates and professor will have a better understanding of the most critical moment so far in my life that resulted in my year-long medical leave from Cal Poly. How many of you have been through an experience that you will never forget and has changed your life forever? Please raise your hands. Haiti M. Levitt and others stated on January 26, 2004, at various times, psychologists define it as a psychoanalytical process, a spiritual epiphany, or a type of experiential knowing. In the article, The Transformational Experience of Insight, a Life-Changing Event. Now take a moment and briefly explain that experience to a partner. Go ahead.
Probably when I was on my first dance team and we went to the world for the first time. That was like really transformative and how I was.
Cool. I too myself have had such an experience, and it was my dirt bike accident on September 3rd, 2017 up in Chico, California. This crash resulted in me almost losing my life and a total of 12 surgeries in order to recover and repair my body. I'm a third-generation motor vehicle survivalist along with my great-uncle and my uncle. Not too many people get to say that, especially back in the day. David C. Grabowski and Michael A. Morrissey explained on November 4, 2001 in The Effect of State Regulations on Motor Vehicle Fatalities for Younger and Older Drivers, a review and analysis that motor vehicle fatalities in the United States have declined dramatically during the past two decades due to a number of factors, including technological improvements in vehicles and roadways, increased use of seatbelts, and a decrease in alcohol-impaired driving. I was a freshman when the accident took place and resulted in a year-long medical leave from school. Almost 2 years ago, I went through the most enduring and significant experience in my life, with my first serious construction job leading to my motorcycle crash and resulting in my treatment and therapy in order to recover. Back in 2017, I was a reckless and thoughtless teenager who had just recently got kicked out of the house and started living with my aunt and started working construction. Me and my family were going through a rough patch, and we thought it'd be best if I just went and lived with my aunt for a little bit while things smoothed out. I had to pay rent, and I got a job through a friend on a food truck company, driving a food truck and working a cashier job. Fortunately, my boss at the food truck company had connections to the construction industry and knew I was going back to school for construction management. He put in a good word, and I was able to get my first job in the construction industry. In the publication of the Journal of Construction Engineering and Management in August and July 2004, Paul M. Goodrum explains the shortage of skilled workers is considered to be one of the most greatest challenges facing in the United States construction industry. In the article, Hispanic and Non-Hispanic Wage Differentials, Implications for United States Construction Industry. So I worked construction for 5 to 6 months, and it was the most hard experience of my life so far, other than my accident. I was waking up at 4 to 5 every day and commuting an hour to work and an hour home from work, working 8 to 9 hour long days up on a roof in the hot sun in San Jose, California. It was a hard job, but the pay was really good, and it opened a lot of doors for me. I was able to buy a truck and a dirt bike that summer with all the money I had made. This combination led to all kinds of problems. After that, my reckless and thoughtless behavior was heightened and bolstered by the fact that I now had a truck and a dirt bike. I started going on weekend trips when I wasn't working, strapping my bike to the back of my truck and bringing it with me. One of these trips was to Chico, California to visit friends who attend Chico University and Butte College. One of the things about riding dirt bikes is that it's different than most activities. In the article, Ride a Dirt Bike by Sean McDonald in April 2016, he explains this difference. You play football, you play baseball, you play basketball, you play hockey, tennis, and soccer, but you ride motocross. You ride it. You don't play it, you ride it. And oh boy, did I love riding motocross. I rode my bike all weekend in Chico, speeding up and down the block in front of my friend's house, putting on a show. Unfortunately, the week before that trip, my cousin was helping me load my bike up onto my truck, and it tipped over, breaking the front brake off the bike. That, on top of me not wearing a helmet that weekend, led to problems. In the same article by Sean McDonald in April 2016, he brings to light the excitement of riding dirt bikes. Because if there's any sport that captures the essence of what it was like to play as a child, it is riding dirt bikes. Spending hours outside, splashing around in the mud, getting as filthy as possible, racing your friends, pretending you have superpowers and can fly. The police had been looking for me all weekend, and there were numerous complaints called in due to the loudness of my bike and the fact that it was on the street and it was a dirt bike. Mike Chalmers, in the article ATVs, Dirt Bikes Becoming a Menace on City Streets, in August 21st, 2012, illuminates the danger I was doing that weekend and had been doing ever since I got my dirt bike. Police in a growing number in U.S. cities are trying to silence the roar of dirt bikes and all-terrain vehicles on their streets this summer. I wish I'd gotten caught, but instead, on the last day, right before me and my friend were about to take off and head back home to the city, all the excitement and reckless behavior caught up to me, and I experienced the event that changed my life forever, my accident. I got hit by a car as I ran a stop sign turning into 5th and 6th gear going about 60 miles an hour, and I flew over my handlebars. My friend saw the whole thing and called it in. The paramedic and doctor said I was supposed to die on the scene and not make it to the hospital. The surgeon said I was supposed to die on the table and not make it through the procedure. He came out, and my family was there at the time because they had called them, and he said a prayer with my family saying, "We can't stop the bleeding, but I'm going to try one more time, and this is the last time I'm going to try." Fortunately, he went in and was able to stop the bleeding of my liver. He succeeded. And next came the worst part. The part that led to the most learning and the most healing, both with my family and with myself, my hospital and therapy sessions. So during the accidents, I had a lot of injuries. I shattered my femur, I shattered my wrist, I had median and ulnar nerve damage in my hand, I ripped a tendon in my right hand, I shattered my liver, my lungs collapsed, and I had a closed skull fracture, resulting in double vision for months, and I had a detached deltoid in my shoulder. I was in a medically induced coma due to all these injuries for 33 days. In the middle of my coma, I woke up and jumped out of my bed thinking I was still on the bike scene, looking for my bike, wondering where it was. The doctors rushed in, put me back on the table, harnessed me in, and put me back into my coma. Miriam M. Shinachi and others explain what it is in a brain-machine interface for control of a medically induced coma in October 2013. Medically induced coma, also referred to as a medical coma, is a drug-induced state of profound brain inactivation and unconsciousness used to treat refractory infractional hypertension and status epilepticus, i.e. epilepsy that is refractory to a standard medical therapies. After I got my lungs tubes out, which was the thing keeping me in the hospital, I was safe and able to transfer to San Francisco to rehab therapy. And I made my way to San Francisco to patient rehab at Davies campus. I was there for 22 days. The support and visits from my family and friends made it possible for me to push through. Once I left, I was in a wheelchair and still had double vision and serious nerve damage resulting in a claw in my hand. I couldn't move it. Once I started walking with a cane, I was out the door, out of my bed, and I got a job at the local movie theater in Daly City. Over time, I made a full recovery and learned a lot of valuable lessons. Almost 2 years ago, I went through the most enduring and significant experience in my life, starting with my first serious construction job, leading to my motorcycle accident, and resulting in my treatment and therapy in order to recover. It was a long and painful journey for me and my family. We lost 2 grandmothers in that time, which makes me even more grateful for my life. I try to thank God and those who are around me as much as I can. That's why you need to make sure you learn from your life-changing experiences and never forget the lessons and the pain, sorrow, happiness, excitement, or joy that it has brought you. Thank you.